Hey everyone, today I'm here with Vivek, who's one of our EasyA tutors. He's actually one of our EasyA Super Tutors, and we'll be running through a couple of questions that you guys sent in before and just running through. So it'll be a quick whistle-stop tour through a couple of the really important questions that you wanted answered, and we'll be asking him right from our Super Tutor himself, Vivek. So Vivek, I guess for anybody who hasn't met you before on the EasyA app or elsewhere, yeah, maybe just give a brief intro on yourself, where you're studying, where, what year, and that sort of thing.
Hi everyone, I'm Vivek. I'm a first year math student at the University of Bristol.
Cool, fantastic. And I guess the first question sort of we wanted to ask was like, in terms of, the best advice that you might have for anybody who wants to make an impact, because obviously you've had such a big impact yourself, like, what would your advice be? How do you think that somebody can have the biggest impact on the world themselves just as one individual person?
I think if you really want to have an impact on the world, it's really important to choose something that you're really passionate about. I think if you do that, you're more likely to put in effort and it's likely to become more meaningful both for yourself and for others. And by doing that, you can really make a meaningful impact to the world.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of what you did in the past, maybe before EZA, what did you do in terms of volunteering or stuff that allowed you to have such a big impact?
In terms of volunteering, some volunteering at an old age home where I helped some senior citizens with their daily task and also help them to have a meal and also talk to them and lend a listening ear to them. And also I've been involved in some peer mentoring before. So that's
Okay.
been just helping out fellow friends with problems and discussing our course material and things like that.
Yeah, and do you do that at Bristol? Like, is there a peer mentoring or peer tutoring society that you can get involved with at university?
I think that there is some like Bristol Futures program where you can do some peer mentoring, but I'm not really involved with that. I just do it like on my own basis to like via EasyA and other apps like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've had such a huge impact. I think, how many minutes of tutoring have you done so far on EZA? It must be like thousands and thousands. Okay, have you kept track?
Yeah, I think it's gone over 10,000 by now.
Whoa. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. You're one of our most prolific tutors. And what inspires you to do it so much? Because you've gone above and beyond the rest. Like, what is it that drives you when sort of the grind starts happening? When you're like, you know what, there are all these questions waiting in the app, and you have a lot of work to be doing, but you just say, you know what, I'm Vivek. I'm going to power through, and I'm going to help all of these students. Like, what is it that gets you going?
I think it's really that education can make such a big impact on students' lives. And being a student myself, I know how important education is. And also with COVID-19, there has been so many disruptions on people's educations. And being able to increase learning opportunities for students who may not have been able to adapt to new changes and spark that curiosity, joy, and wonder of learning. I think that's really meaningful. I think education is just such a fundamental gift that I think everybody should have access to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's, as you say, something that maybe a lot of people don't realize, right? That I think you've actually realized that yourself so well that you have these tremendous gifts and you know so much and you can actually share that with other people. And I think I'm not sure why exactly more people don't do it because everybody has something to teach, I like to say, and everybody has something to learn at the same time, right? So I think that if more people recognize that they could actually help out, that they had a lot to give, maybe we'd be able to solve this like imbalance between people who want to learn and people who are available to teach because everybody does truly have something to teach and everybody always has something to learn, of course. And in terms of that, I guess what have you enjoyed most about tutoring with the EZA? For me, when I'm tutoring with EZA or helping out, I think the most enjoyable thing is when I see not only myself rise on the leaderboard, but of course also being able to see the really nice feedback that I get. And I think some of the stuff that you've got is like, Vivek has literally changed my grades, or as in like, obviously not literally changed the grades, but as in has helped me get my grades up so much. Like I doubled my grades, within a couple of weeks of using EasyA, or after being connected with Vivek multiple times. And like, I think actually what I've seen the most and I love the most when I'm seeing it is like when the student gets connected with you and they're like, oh my God, it's Vivek again. Hey, how are you doing? Because they're like, they've been waiting to get connected with you. So I guess, yeah, what's your favorite bit?
Yeah, I think that having nice feedback to read is really motivating. And also it's just really the that like seeing students like suddenly grasp a very complex problem after trying to explain it to them. I think that's a really great and meaningful moment to me. It really puts a smile on my face when the students manages to like solve a very difficult problem. And also it's really about the variety of experiences. There are so many different students on EasyA, and you can really develop a lot of skills finding that, like communication skills. You can become more empathetic, can become more patient, and also more adaptable, because there's really a huge variety of students, and really you have to try your best to explain it to them and in a way that suits their way of learning. And I think that's really great about EasyA.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've certainly learned a lot about how to be more patient. Because sometimes, you exactly as you say, there's a really wide variety of students, and this is sort of reflective of the world in general as well. Like some people just can grasp topics very, very quickly, and so you might ask, or you might be answering a question and helping guide somebody through, and they'll just get it like that, right? After like a couple of different
Yeah.
pointers, they'll just understand it. And some other people will just be like, you'll be like, come on, you can get this, you can get this.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh no, I don't get it. Can you explain another way? And I think it's about it really teaches you to have a very flexible mind, because I think it's
Yeah.
so easy when we're explaining things to get stuck in the way that we were taught or the way that we understand it and be like, this is the way that you do it. This is the only way. When in reality, there are so many different ways of skinning a mathematical problem, right? Or a mathematical cat. So it's about actually developing that sort of thinking outside of the box. Because even students sometimes have actually figured out ways of doing it themselves, I've found. Like they will come up with their
Yeah.
own explanation of something and I'll be like, oh, yeah, that does actually work. Yeah, interesting. So I guess, that's been really, really interesting to hear sort of how you got into EZA, like how you started also making such a huge impact in general. And I guess sort of looking forwards, as we sort of come to the end of this short little podcast or video, what do you think is what you really want, how you really want to develop further in terms of, helping out, and also just in terms of, I guess going forward?
I think that maths is maybe one of the most feared subjects. Like there's further maths at A level, which is really challenging. And I think that via tutoring with Easy, I really want to make maths become a more approachable subject, and also try to communicate some of the wonders of the subject to students, because there's really a lot of wonderful applications of maths in life, and some really, really beautiful results and theorems, a lot of interesting things. It's used everywhere in economics, in physics, chemistry, and really, it's really important to not fear that subject and to really embrace how it's ubiquitous in our lives.
Yeah, and on that topic, what do you think is your biggest tip for wrapping your head around maths and overcoming that fear that, or maybe I'm not talented at maths, or I don't have a maths brain, right? Like a lot of people just think that, right? Maths is just not for me. Did you ever feel that, or do you ever feel that? Like, how do you get around that sort of feeling, that mental blocker which holds so many people back?
Well, actually, as you go on with your education, everything will become more technical. So it's really important to just have an open mind. Everything will not come so easily to you as you go on your education. And at A level, you really start to develop some of the some of the independent learning skills that you will have. And you have to try to think outside the box. And I think that to really try to break away from that fear of maths, you really have to be open and just give it a go, just experiment, just try various approaches to a problem. It's really important to actually put pen to paper, just try different approaches, just try things. Even if you are not sure where to start, just write what you know and just try to see what can you do with those.
Yeah, no, I think that's so interesting to hear. Different techniques. So thank you very much for sharing those. And I guess as the final thing then, one thing I always like to ask is, in terms of obviously the amazing path that you've gone down, right? Getting into Bristol, studying maths, excelling at maths, how much of that do you think is down to luck? And how much do you think is down to just the hard work that you've put in yourself over the years and just the grind?
I think it's mostly down to the hard work. I think you get in as much as you put in. So I think the more effort you put in, the more you'll get back from whatever you're doing. So if you really put in a lot of effort, a lot of care into what you do, you really get a lot of good things back.
Yeah. And even so with maths, I know a lot of people will be thinking like, nah, maths, you're either born good at it or you're not.
Yeah, that's not really true. It's really just a lot of practice, a lot of hard work, and trying to get around those mystifying concepts, those abstract concepts, and just trying to get to grips with those. And really, it's just a lot of practice and a lot of reading, trying out problems, and things like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's so useful for everybody to hear. I think especially when you're maybe the first time you're taking exams, the first time you're taking public exams, it's very easy to get into this mindset, which is like, oh, I'm not good at it. Everybody else is so good. When a lot of the time people don't really see the hard work that everybody who's really good at it has actually put in. And I think a lot of the time also the people who are really good downplay how hard they work. So it's sort of like, if you really want to do it, if you want to become great at maths, if you put in the effort, you will. So yeah, thank you for sharing that with everyone, Vivek. And thank you so much for coming on today for this short, 12, 13-minute little podcast and video recording. So really appreciate it, especially you taking the time out of your exams to actually help out. I know you've got your last two next week. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, best of luck with that. And thank you again for coming on and also for being such an amazing member of our team. Thank you, Vivek. And I know that on behalf of everybody who's watching, a massive, massive congratulations on everything that you've done so far. And we'd love to have you on again sometime.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Phil.
you, Vivek.
It's been really fun. It's been really fun for me. Thank you so much. Bye.
See you.